Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mapian,
And I'm Adrian.
and it's here, Big A. We got to talk about it. Shang-Chi, my guy.
Yeah.
Man, I saw this opening night, and we went again second night. Well, I went a second time. We saw it with you for the first time on Saturday,
Right.
and it is just so nice to have a little bit of escapism again because it's been a rough couple of years for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I've seen it already. I've seen the screen rant for it. I've seen and everyone's poking fun at it, like, oh, the Marvel formula, blah 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 blah. But I mean, it's just such a departure from what we've seen previously that I think, as a whole, I'm just gonna go off the gate. It's refreshing, even though it's like familiar. It's still different enough to feel new to me, at least.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Simu was great. Fantastic actor. I'm gonna get right into it. I think I bought almost everything about his performance except the killer part. And this might sound weird to you, but let me explain. There was a few instances in the movie where he was alluding to his past, was figuring it out. He's talking to his best friend, and he's like, I was sent on a mission to kill someone, and she's like, did you do it? And he's like, no. And then find out later he did, and you could tell he's like torn up about it. But like, I didn't see that edge in him. Like when he was about to kill his old mentor / abuser. Well, I don't even know the character's name, but with the painted face and all that, yeah, and the mask. I was like, I felt like he was about to do it, but I was like, where were you though? Like, I know he got stopped, but like, I didn't see that killer instinct in him. And my whole thing is going forward.
Yeah.
Like his mom or his aunt told him rather, and his mom when he was little, that like lightness and darkness lives within him. And he's gonna have to like own that and like go through that. Moving forward in life, he's gonna have to deal with that.
Right.
I didn't really see the darkness, man. He just seemed like a beacon of like just happiness, and that could be a facade. It could be a happy face he puts on. But
Maybe.
I felt like I didn't see enough of the darkness. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something like he's trying to suppress.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to suppress it, or maybe he has naturally over all these years, to fit in, to assimilate with life here in the U.S.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was really interesting from the get go. But that's like one small grievance with it. I mean, a lot of it was dope. I didn't know a lot of it was practical, like with the bus crashing scene. I just saw behind the scenes of that,
cool.
and of course there's CG, obviously. But like, I like how they actually crashed into cars and stuff. I was like, they could have CG'd that, but they didn't.
They could.
That was tight.
Yeah.
I mean, for you, things you love, things you didn't like so much.
Man, the action definitely.
The
was
fight scenes,
amazing.
Oh my god, yeah. The first two acts were very solid. I loved all the hand to hand stuff. I don't even want to know, but I bought like the scaffold fight scene, like on the side of the building in China. I mean, I bought that. I was like, that's
I
so
love
tight.
the tension that you felt within that scene.
Yes,
with the camera work and the choreography.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I just, you kept you on your toes, and yeah, it took turns, man. It really took turns. A great character moment was when his sister, he was trying to get information out of that one dude, and his sister like just kicked him off. She was like, "What? America made you soft?" And I was like, "Come on now, I'm trying to figure out what's going on." So that was tight. There was a lot of good stuff in this movie. Lots of good, and I love how they cleaned up a lot of the stuff from like Iron Man 3.
Oh right.
Oh my god, the surprise with Trevor Slattery, was it?
Trevor Slattery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trevor Slattery. Yeah. I'm blanking. There's so many names to remember, but that was gold. I loved his reintroduction and like the recontextualization of his character.
Yeah,
and
it was interesting.
It became like the jester. Yeah. That was hilarious. How they kept him alive for that.
Yeah.
I like how he came along for the ride in the Razor Fist car, and like he got directions from a little otherworldly being, like an other dimensional like furball.
Right.
I don't know his name. I forgot his name.
Mobius, more something like that.
It was something goofy.
Yeah.
It was dumb, but I loved it. I loved every moment. He was awesome, fantastic. Yeah, we talked about this prior to this, but like everything was very solid through and through. The only time it got a little weird and muddled was like that last final act, when everything got like just big CGI fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it did feel a little long.
Yeah.
That part.
It did. A lot was happening. It turned from like, family against family, and then to like, oh, there's a bigger bad. So
there was a lot happening.
There was a lot happening.
Yeah.
And that goes back to me saying like they tease so much. Like they answer a lot of questions, but they raise so many more. Like they're really vague about the ring's powers and where exactly it comes from. It's implied that it's not of this universe. Like it's an other
Right. But they left it like really open.
They left it very open, so they can answer it in a future movie, which is tight. It gives us stuff to look forward to, but at the same time, like, what can they do? Like, let's find out.
Yeah. There was a lot of lore that they set up.
A lot.
And it was a lot to
kind of digest.
Yeah, digest.
You mentioned before this, and I agree with you, that it took you out a little bit when like the Wong stuff came into play. You want to elaborate on that?
Well, yeah, a little bit, because I mean, obviously they were part of the MCU,
of course.
but like seeing like the smaller characters
Yeah.
and then having them like just have a small scene and then kind of like wave their hand, say goodbye.
Yeah, exactly.
it kind of takes you out a little bit. For a bit.
Yeah. And on that note, I wanted to say, like, it was cool that they teased more stuff going on, like what's going on with the Abomination and Wong. Like, why is he seemingly training him? You know, how does Madame What's-Her-Face fit into this?
Yeah, it almost made me a little too interested in what they were doing rather than
exactly
what was going on.
And on that same note,
film.
It makes me wonder, since this is like an origin film, right, for him, there's still plenty more characters that haven't been introduced into the MCU. I mean, literally hundreds, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder that, like, you can't really have your cake and eat it too, because you almost have to have some sort of tie-in, because more and more movies are increasingly tying over. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we're getting, if you cut them all together, we have like already a second Doctor Strange with all the cameos he's made in all the other movies. You know what I mean? Like, we kind of have a story or through line of what he's doing, and that begs the question: how many more origin stories are we gonna get that can truly be standalone? Because barring some some crazy extenuating circumstance, like for example, the Eternals, where have they been? And all those questions they have to answer in the trailer.
Right.
Like, how can you have them not cross over in future movies? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And does that bother you, or are you cool with that? Are you like, how do you feel personally?
I think overall they're sort of getting a handle on it, on how to do it. And I think this is definitely an improvement since like Iron Man 2.
For sure, yeah.
Like,
where it's like really shoehorned in at the end. Yeah. Like, by the way, Nick Fury's here. What's up? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It did feel more natural, but I see where you're coming from with that. So those were just my initial feelings on it. But yeah, I mean, I think it crushed. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I think it did really well.
Yeah,
for
it
pandemic
did do really well.
numbers. Yeah. So that's really promising.
For what was it, Labor Day weekend?
I think it broke that record, right?
Weekend, yeah, it did.
It was like, I don't know what the previous record holder was, but yeah, it definitely smashed that. So it's just nice to get back to the movies. I mean, we still have Eternals. We still have No Way Home, which is going to be huge. How big do you think that's going to be? I know I keep asking you, bro, but
man, I don't know. It's on Christmas weekend.
Christmas Day,
Christmas
I want to say.
Right?
That's got to shatter records. There's no way it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to come out, you know? Man, there's so much to look forward to. But no, overall, Shang-Chi was great. I think, I don't know exactly where it is on our list. That's something we got to do next week. We got to come with our list.
Right.
And but I want to say it's like definitely in the top half of my MCU movies, if not maybe scratching in the top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think maybe around top 5, top.
Really, that's good. That's high praise.
Top 8. Yeah.
Give me a second. Gotta handle my dog. Welcome to the podcast, Mikey. All right. But yeah, finishing up your thought, you said you definitely thought it was top 5.
Yeah, like top 5, top 8.
Damn, pretty good. I'm gonna have to think long and hard and reevaluate my ranking, but we'll definitely get back to that. We're gonna take a small break, and when we get back, we're gonna review What If episode 4. All right, and we're back with our review of Doctor Strange's What If episode 4. And in this one, it essentially is similar to the events of Doctor Strange 2016, except the main difference is that Christine is in the car with him when they crash, and instead of losing his hands, he loses his heart, as I think the Watcher puts it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just his struggle in becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, but also dealing with that grief. And in the episode, we find him at some point deciding to go back and try and fix things, especially with the use of the time stone. Like, we get the whole Apple sequence, you know what I mean? Like we did in the original movie. We're like, okay, we know where this is going. And then it turns into like the Groundhog Day thing where like you keep, you know, like dying and repeating it and dying and repeating it and trying to repeat this one event, but it just won't change. It won't go his way. And so it's rough. Like, we see him go through a lot. He tries a ton of different things, tries a different road, tries this, tries that, tries to just abandon her. And like, I think the building catches fire that she's in. And I was like, geez, I was like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like the first episode where things start to get kind of dark. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
like,
pretty dark.
Yeah, like things
overall.
aren't always going to be a happy ending. And it was nice to see that, because I was like, these are like what ifs. And like, that's the point of it. Like, what happens when they don't win the day, things don't go their way. And so it's pretty rough. And I think he actually comes to understanding that he just doesn't have the power for it, right? And I think I think it's in one of the events where he's trying to go back and change it. And I think that's when the Ancient One comes and tries to put a stop to it.
Yeah, she tells him that it's a fixed
point, right?
Yeah, fixed point.
And you can't change that, or else and it's true, it's a paradox. If he fixes that, then he would have never become Doctor Strange. Right.
He wouldn't have the motivation to do so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that makes sense, but like, how far down the rabbit hole is he gonna go? And pretty far, we find out, because he like ends up going essentially back in time, like, what was it, 600 years, to like some sort of ancient forest, and like tries to get this ancient knowledge, and starts like literally like devouring like demons and souls of them, and like acquiring their powers and abilities and knowledge. I was like, whoa, this is pretty intense. And so yeah, he keeps going, and then it gets to the point where he's like looking pretty freaky. He even like attempts to go when he feels he's powerful enough, attempts to go after that big squid-looking demon. Do you think that's the same monster from episode 1?
Yeah, I think
I feel like it is, right? Like I
Yeah.
feel like the same texture, same CG. I'm like, this has got to be the same being, just in a different universe.
Right.
What is that thing? Like we don't know, but like it's got to come into play at some point, right?
Yeah, maybe it's the big villain for the end of the season.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That could be trippy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's starting to. Well, we'll see if there's a third instance, but I feel like that's starting to become a constant. I'm like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, it is, right?
I'm like, it's a little suspicious, man. They want to save that giant tentacle monster for us to fight at the very end. But he eventually, I think he even assimilates that, and he gets like the tentacles, and he's like really freaking crazy. And then we learn later in the episode that like the Ancient One, went in the little scuffle, split him into two. She split him into 2 timelines, but in the same universe. And I was like, what? That's some trippy stuff. I was like, come on now. And so, like, the normal Doctor Strange puts up a fight, and even, like, he learns he has to fight himself because he sees, like, his whole universe dissolving around him.
Right.
And I'm like, what in the hell? And they end up fighting, and I'm like, at first you think Doctor Strange has a hold on him, but, like, with his many of the power-ups and, like, level-ups that the evil one got, like, at the end of the day, there wasn't a chance. All those little spells couldn't protect him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, man, that's rough.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then he does it. He actually, like, in ending the world, he finally succeeds and gets her back. And then she's all like horrified by his deformed and ugly form, and literally the world's melting around her. And he gets her back for like what, all of like 10 seconds as like the entire universe crumbles. I'm like, was it worth it? But I thought what was really neat was that he could sense the Watcher's presence even when he was like leveling up back in the tombs or like in the library. Like, who's there? Yeah. And then he even has like he directly talks to him at the very end as the universe is collapsing. He's like, I'm not a god, neither are you. And I was like, what is going on? But I thought that was crazy that he ascended to that kind of level where he could talk to a cosmic being like the Watcher. How did you feel about that?
That was cool.
Pretty trippy, right?
Yeah, that was cool.
I mean, the episode as a whole, your thoughts? Yeah, come on, Big Apple. I'm rambling. I'm rambling for a reason, man. It was hype, bro. The reason why I keep going off so much is that there was a lot happening, going on. And there's a lot being teased. And I'm really curious to see, because I mean, that's, even though he's not interacting, the Watcher's not interacting, he still interacted with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he sort of decides like how far he can go in
interfering.
Yeah.
I am too,
because he is kind of influencing Doctor Strange
in a way.
In a way, right?
Yeah. I mean, inaction is still action. You know what I mean? Because like, yes, he's not supposed to interfere, but I mean, like, not even a warning.
He's there and
you know
he's watching.
Yeah,
and like Doctor Strange can hear him.
He can hear him narrating, and he's like, "Who's there?" So in a way, that is interfering.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like the fact that he's reached that level, and he doesn't want to inquire more. I mean, he did ask who's there, and the Watcher said nothing, of course. But yeah, and then he didn't yell at him until it was too late, and he realized the error of his ways. But I'm just like, how many universes have you think the Watcher's been like, "Sorry, kid, can't help you," and just like let implode, or just, that was crazy. Yeah. But I think it was rough. I think he was, by the very end of it, he was just yelling "Christine, Christine," or like muttering it into the void, just alone in that little crystal universe forever. And I was like, sheesh, what a jail cell. That's rough. And yeah, like I said earlier, that was like the first episode where I was like, man, things are kind of dark. And that's a stark contrast to episode 5, which we'll talk about next week. But I thought that was really interesting, and I wonder how many more of those we're gonna see, and how many of these universes are gonna cross over.
Right.
You know what I mean? You think any of it's gonna spill over to our universe, or we'll have to wait and see?
I think potentially.
Yeah.
But probably not.
I think most of them it's a no. There might be one that might have a direct like little flip in. Yeah. But I mean, most of them, like, I think are going to be pretty self-contained, because I think they're even it's a confirmed. They're season 2, right?
Oh yeah, I think so.
And there's so many stories to be told. So, but yeah, overall, one of the better episodes in my opinion. Even though it didn't end well, it was really good.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites.
The visuals are great. Yeah. I loved all the crazy Doctor Strange stuff, and I love that character so much. There's so much more I want to see from him and his little rogues gallery. So yeah, get cosmic with it, Big Apple. Anyway, that's a review of What If episode 4, and I think that's all we got for today. So for Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we'll see you next time.